welcome back to City Skylines, Oak City, Oakville. So, in today's episode, episode 5, we're going to be working conclusively on the railroad system of the city and furthermore finishing off the first tile section of the highway area. So, man, at the beginning of this episode, I really had a plan for what the railroad system was going to look like. Now, during the probably the middle majority of this episode, we're actually going to be adding some um, complexes, or as I like to call, a small area, a small majority of what's going to become the downtown area. Conclusively, meaning that I'm gonna be adding some high residential, sort of like apartment buildings that will become part of the renowned and also known part of the downtown area. Now, the downtown area, it's not going to be built in this episode. I do believe maybe 3 more episodes. Hopefully so. Um, we'll delve down deeper into what's going to become the downtown area. Now, I don't want to make the city appear like it's a large area. But of course, I want it to be a medium-sized city and also not conflict any performance issues whatsoever. That's kind of one of the biggest things I had worried about this episode. I had actually, like, in the last episode, I had mentioned to you guys that I had worked conclusively on downloading some more assets and mods for the downtown area, and I'm actually quite lucky that my game actually launched and it actually worked. The loading screen hasn't been working very well. Um, with like the loading screen mod by Thale 5 hasn't been working lately ever since the new update, the airports update. So, eh, I gotta say we've been here and there with like the new update of things, but conclusively, I just decided to add my own simple implementations there for bringing and arising new areas. So one thing you will also notice in this episode is that I've added some neighborhoods, usually different compared to those that I've worked on in episode 3 and in episode 1 and conclusively in episode 2. But I will actually be adding like a few neighborhoods and a few areas that are going to composite of some distinct little areas that are going to become a large appeal to what is going to become the new era of the new district, which is obviously going to be the outskirts of Oak City, and eventually will eventually fill in everything in the first tile. Right now, the only focus is to fill in everything within the first tile, and eventually go tile by tile, and like fill in these unique certain areas that deserve a liking, a personality, so per se. So, I was very excited to really work on those additions, therefore bringing that to the table, and obviously not leaving any single detail out or left out pretty much. But conclusively, I've also been working on the layout of the downtown area. I haven't exactly planned it out yet. Um, there's little work here and there for the downtown area. I've also looked into placing some large box commercial buildings and residential areas too as well. Majorly, I do suppose for the outskirts of Oak City. You will see a lot of trailer parks. I might conclusively work on some more trailer parks and some more establishments and towns outside of Oak City. So be on the lookout for that on the 6th episode. Oh man. I conclusively also added a Kmart establishment in my city. I decided to bring that inside of my city, or inside of this episode, because I just wanted my city to feel like it is a city of nowadays, where you have the remnants of like the mid 90s and the late 2000s, obviously replicated in one single episode or one single series. So as I was mentioning in the first episode and second episode, how like this is like the Oakville that's like way, 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 way upon the future. Or yeah, pretty much. This Oakville is just a It's, I guess you could say, a temporary, more of a like normal Oakville. It wasn't affected by the economical crisis, but we do have a bunch of hidden details. Therefore, for saying lots of roads, lots of highways, really just everything that really needs to be added. Man, but this shopping center took me over. It, I guess you could say, it took me over like 20 minutes to complete. The sidewalks and the parking lots weren't really hard to add. I feel like I probably give myself a little bit too much dedication whenever it came to really building these certain areas of the shopping center. But conclusively, I've also been looking into eventually building a high school. The high school area that I've been speculating to build in the city, it hasn't been planned, but it's gonna be somewhere between the outskirts of the city. Um, Conclusively, we're talking like the areas that we are going to finish today. They're like, I guess you could say, like right between the areas of the new neighborhoods that are gonna be added in this episode. Like probably by the end of this episode, I'm hoping so. Um, we're looking to place a high school around. Well, actually, I have downloaded a bunch of schools, but there will be schools scattered across the city and across the map. So hopefully, we'll be looking at some new implementations and new additions. Therefore, to say that I'm also happy to say that Oakville is just going to grow within the majority of this month, and then eventually I'll be looking at a transformation at certain things, and obviously growing these areas, and maybe getting some vehicles and some citizens really coming in to live inside of the city. One thing I've also added is a field, I do suppose, to the outer lining of the outskirts of Oak City. So we're gonna see some very new developments, some neighborhoods that are gonna be under construction, which will be also added here in this episode. And I'm also kind of excited to say that I've also been thinking about majorly working on an outer interstate connection, um, but I'm just not sure about that one yet. I might have to get the the main downtown area finished first before any late implementations are added. Do note that this entire map is a flat one. I actually created this map myself. And a lot of the coastal areas that you probably may notice, which are close to like the Food Lion establishment, also will be worked on, but I won't exactly work on a coastal area quite yet. I might actually get rid of the water at the corner of the map, so bear with me on that one. But as you could probably notice here, we're actually getting a little bit closer to the almost end of the episode, but actually pretty much ended up adding some houses here and there, some of those backseaty neighborhoods, and a few side houses on some side roads, side country roads, I guess you could say. Um, Another one of the biggest inspirations that I have for this series is probably like the countryside outskirts, which are seen a lot around where I live conclusively. Um, Another thing I also paid a lot of attention to was the power lines and like how they would personally function in a typical day-to-day city. Um, but I don't know. I feel like it was overall confusing for the kind of environment that we were going to pretty much work on at the beginning of this entire episode. But I got a lot done. City wise and obviously residential wise, and looking at it realistically from one standalone point of view, man, I was actually quite excited to finish off these areas quite quick. I kind of got lazy in some areas, conclusively this entire neighborhood subdivision. Um, One, because I don't know, I had this thing about adding homes and just adding them one by one, so I just decided to make it look a little bit realistic and make these neighborhoods that I just added here look like they were kind of newly constructed, newly added for this type of scene. So they're, so for say, I was also very excited to really implement these changes and obviously really input the creativity into taking my time and actually showing what this neighborhood is all about. Um, Another thing I've also been asked as a content creator from friends personally is how do I personally do it to add and really manage my neighborhoods from over colliding, especially with nodes. So intersections there for say. So one thing I possibly all the time do is sometimes I may get some conflicting with nodes, especially intersections over colliding with each other. It's just that's just one thing that I've been having to deal with. But I figured because I didn't have the what's it called, the network tiling mod installed, I kept on getting like crash notifications in my game. So I'm guessing after I got that resolved, I didn't have any problems with like the nodes or like the intersections over colliding. Therefore, my vehicle's not driving straight and always like losing their interference with their code, obviously. Um, but therefore, obviously, knowing that for say, a lot of new additions and new recommendations as to fixing certain areas have been implemented. And I do believe that like around maybe after well before this episode was recorded, I had downloaded two consecutive mods, the extra landscaping mod and the camera options mod, which the camera options mod actually enabled me to pretty much zoom in, and obviously the other mod that I used was just landscaping and stuff. But we're coming to kind of an extensive end here. I hope to see you guys in the next episode, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.